Hey, True Believers, England Teen here with another episode of Comic Book Origins, where we take a look at the very first comic book appearance of any comic book superhero, villain, or team, or even side character. What the heck? Why not? In this case, we're looking at Body Doubles, Bonnie Hoffman and Carmen Lino, created in 1996 by Andy Lanning, Dan Abnett, Jackson Geis. With all that aside, let's jump into the very first appearance of Body Doubles, Resurrection Man, number 1.
I know you're gonna dig this.
So the strange thing about the Resurrection Man cover, and it's all right, I think as they call them, virgin covers would look okay, except for it would be a nondescript skull. And that's the thing. It doesn't tell us much about body doubles, and that's okay. They're the villains. They're the side characters to this story. But it doesn't really tell us anything about Resurrection Man. Anyway, that could be anyone's skull. It's just, I don't think that works as a first issue cover. The story starts off, we are introduced to a guy named Mitch. Now, Mitch is talking about how he's lived Mitch for just a little bit, and Mitch just found out that Mitch can fly. 5 seconds before Mitch dies, and we do see by the sign that Resurrection Man, created by Andy Lanning and Dan Abnett and drawn by Butch Geis. So, you see Mitch, he's flying, he lands, he's dying, he gets a few seconds from his life, and the guy's like, well, I assume it's my life. And 5 seconds after that, Mitch is alive again, wondering what the hell's going on. He's alive, dogs are sniffing around him, he pushes them away. Get off of me! But we do see Mitch stumbling around, wondering, okay, well, I hope I'm about to wake up from a drunken stupor, because, let's see, today I don't know, or yesterday I didn't know who I was, today I don't know what I am, and then he sees a snow globe that says, hey, you're supposed to be in court in an hour. And he's like, oh, okay. Okay, so I'm all down for any comic book that has a little bit of confusion to it. Like, they don't know what's going on, we discover with them what's going on and everything, and that's fine. It's been done before. But you do have to establish some sort of context to what's going on, so we have something grounded, something to latch onto. And so far, Resurrection Man ain't doing that, dudes. So Mitch decides to go to the library to do a little research on the stuff that he's seeing about himself, and when he gets to the library, they kick him out. No bums allowed. But there's a young lady that is described as having a social conscience that lets him stay there, I guess, after hours. She's going to hang out with him and look up everything he needs to know about a snow globe, finding out what's going to happen in court. And to tell you the truth, dude, I'm boring the shit out of myself just describing this book. Okay, you start off with a guy getting shot mid-flight, and that's fine. That tells me a little bit, okay, it's going to have something happen. But in all honesty, we have no idea who this guy is. Obviously, we know he's Resurrection Man because it's on the title. But, like I said, there's been no establishing shot. And the only thing that's happened is we saw him, I guess, die. Because I don't know, maybe I'm being a little overly critical here, but I'm thinking, let's pick it up, Cha-Cha. I got a life to lead. Come on, let's go. But they do actually find out that he is a lawyer that was caught in an explosion a few years ago. Now, he says he's been living rough for a while. I guess that means, kind of like a homeless person, and that's fine. You would think, though, that they would have tried to use the fact that he's wearing what looks like an $800 coat back in the day as evidence that maybe he wasn't always a homeless bum. But the new information that he was a lawyer caught in an explosion, it kind of sets off all these memories. And he's like, just give me a sec. Says my body was never recovered and I left behind a wife. I guess I won't be asking you out. So now we have to wonder, when was this creepy Mitch's plan? Okay, I'm a bum in an $800 coat. I think I'm going to go hit on the local librarian because she's nice. And next we cut to a man who's basically bathing in a sink at a gas station saying thank you very much to the ride to a person. We see a blood stain on the floor in the top panel here. And it's just saying, hey, grooming is essential. He puts on some aftershave, says he loves the smell of it, and, well, I could hear my next ride coming, so I'll say goodbye. Shame you weren't going any further. And we see that the guy who gave him a ride was dead, which we kind of got the figure that out from the blood stain at the top. Now we have no idea who this guy is, but let's hope at some point in time we're going to find out a little bit more about the people we're reading about. We cut back to Irma and Mitch, who just got a haircut, and he's appreciative of that. Asks Irma why she'd helped. She says, my son Robbie disappeared 4 years ago. He'd gotten into drugs, and, well, I think he must be down and out somewhere now, and this is my connection. It helps me to feel like I'm looking out for him, or at least helping other people's children. And then, basically, in 3 word balloons, he thanks her for her help. The top panel of this page is so strange, the way it's drawn. I mean, obviously, this is a guy who just says, well, I left a wife, and okay, so I'm not going to hit on you. That is meant for a romantic expression, the almost, line drawn, not colored in kind of look, the way she's looking at him. The dialogue, and there's the paranoia, it comes out of the silence, makes you feel like there's something at your heels stalking you. There's stuff I need to tell you, wild stuff that I don't begin to understand. I think you might be the only person on the planet who'll believe me. And she says, let me finish up here, and you could tell me. And that's normal dialogue. There's nothing romantic to it. Now, here's the thing. I'm a Dan Abnett fan. Of course, everybody knows I've praised the Aquaman book that he did endlessly. Man, you should check it out. That being said, not everybody's infallible, and I know this is sounding more like a bad comic beatdown than a comic book origins, but I just started noticing these little flaws, and now I can't stop. And I don't know. Some weird choices here. It's the 90s. You could blame it on It's the 90s. Let's continue. So we cut to a Jeep outside where we see a blonde, and they're talking basically about the difference between Cruise and Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt has eyes that say, baby, where we're going, you'll never need underwear again. This, as we see, the blonde looks over to the brunette. Oh, Carmen, you're dreadful. No, I'm not, girl, and I've got the footage to prove it. Now dump that Dumbo UFO rag, boot up that laptop. Is this the place or not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the very first appearance of the body doubles. This is a weird page. They tell us that they've been tracking the librarian. Why would they do that if it was a random encounter? So maybe we'll find something in the future that Mitch and this librarian knew each other. So far, we've seen no evidence, but they decide, okay, we're going to go into the diner. Bonnie, the blonde, is going to go around back to cover the exits, while Carmen here is going to walk in through the front, apparently in her underwear and an overcoat. The owner helps her out. She says, hey, have you seen this man? He gives an announcement. Hey, this woman's looking for a dude named Mitch. And Mitch is like, I don't feel good about this. I got a bad feeling about this. And he and the librarian run out the back, and some guy tries to stop the Carmen from pursuing, and she burns his face off for his trouble, and then continues to kill her way through the diner to get to the back door. Seems like a lot of hard work for nothing, to tell you the truth. But that's not as important as what's going on behind the building, where we see that Bonnie has a gun aimed at Mitch and Irma, the librarian, as they run around. We see says, oh my gosh, and fuck a donkey, I just screwed that up. But that's not as important as what's happening in the back of the building. We see Bonnie, the body double, holding an Uzi, and when Mitch and Irma come around the corner, she opens fire. Irma shields Mitch with her body, and he thinks, Irma doesn't seem to think twice. She doesn't know it should be me shielding her. And as Irma dies, Mitch lets out a blast that knocks Bonnie to the ground. Later we find Mitch. He's at a diner, and basically you're just getting a recap. People are like, hey, and I heard these guys, they were going to shoot at some kids, but a dude flew up and he got shot, but they can't find a body, so those bullets must have passed right through him. And then an old man we find out is a reverend chimes in with some of the weirdest, I don't know, I guess, people, when you write a comic book, you got to write a little flowery? Yes. But he says, I hear a lot of stories like that on the road about a resurrection man who can't lay down to die. Some of them are bad. Heard tell of a deathless vagrant who slays the poor folk who stop to give him a ride. They say he takes his sustenance from them, and that's when they hear a truck starting barreling down. It tears through the gas pumps and heads towards the diner. But before we get back to that, let me talk about this. How about, I did hear about a guy who keeps coming back to life, and you know what? There's some guy trying to stop him. They say he's like a hobo, or he's got no head or something, Just the writing is very comic bookish, and I understand. I mean, come on, Stan Lee was the same way. Big prose and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. It's a little clunky, though, for my taste. But little do the dining patrons know that they're in the presence of the Resurrection Man, and in this case, his body has given him wind powers, and he's wondering to himself, can he actually stop a sliding semi-truck with just a hardened wall of air? And of course he does, because, superheroics. After he does that, he goes over to the driver. Hey, mister, out cold. Which is more than I could say for the fire under the hood. Man, there's gas everywhere. And the flowery prose also doesn't fit when you're doing single person. I rip my way into the cab, splitting metal and glass with shearing blasts of cutting air. Like, is he writing this from a hotel room? This is his novel talking about his life. Maybe I missed something. I know this is issue number 1, but maybe I missed something in an origin story or something of the Resurrection Man, and maybe that's what's going on. Behind me, over the rapid beating of my heart, I hear the rushing and popping of the flames as they catch the spillage. Hang on, we're leaving, the Resurrection Man says as he grabs onto the driver. He's got him, but the flames, dear Lord! I blast us out on a bow wave of air like darts from a blowpipe. Then someone opens a furnace door behind my eyes and whoa! No, he's actually narrating his life there. Otherwise it wouldn't be, and whoa! So literally while he's doing all this, he's thinking in this kind of novel-ish sort of writing. The dude's full of himself. Just saying. Cut to, the sun has risen, the cops arise, everybody's reiterating everything that happened in the last few pages with emphasis on the fact that Resurrection Man is dead. And so the diners lead the cops out to where they've put the body. We just put a sheet over him, and funny, the padlocks looks like it's been melted. How the hell? He ain't here, but how could have... I swear to gosh, the preacher says this. 3 days and the tomb was empty. And then without any segue, we cut to what looks like a sheriff, and they're on a mountain, and he's saying, I'm sorry, remind me why you say you were looking for this guy? And we see the bombshells. We didn't, but thanks anyway. Look, and yes, I know clothes have changed. So look, hey, I'm not here to tell you how to write a comic book or anything. Lord knows I really have never done it myself. I started but never finished. So, congratulations on making it this far. But transitions, okay? You literally went from a group of people talking about what's in the container to outside. We're introduced to a new character. Seriously, bad writing. Bad writing. It's bad. You know it's bad. Stop that. Be better. I'm alive again, and I figure that if I'm gonna get a fresh chance, I'd better use them. I'm gonna track down... Okay, let me try that again, because that sucked. I'm alive again, and I figure that if I'm gonna keep getting fresh chances, I'd better use them. I'm gonna track down old Mitch Shelley and find out how he ended up as the bum they couldn't kill. Funny thing, though, I can't fly or do the air blast thing anymore. Seems like I get a gift with every new birthday. And I intend to share it with anyone who needs any help along the way. I can't bring Irma back, but I could sure as hell follow her example by doing everything I can to stick up for people. Even dying, if that's what it takes. I'm qualified after all. What was it they called me back at the stop? The Resurrection Man. Yeah, that's what I am. To be continued, because you are now leaving Crucible. Come again. So there you go, gang. That is the first appearance of the body doubles. And how was it? It was all right. Seriously. Well, maybe not, actually. The flowery prose is overpowering. Um, if you're looking for a body doubles book, obviously this isn't, I guess it's a first appearance. So yeah, we do the book, but overall it's the Resurrection Man's book. So they're in it sporadically. The thing is, though, what really hurts this book is we do learn more about the body doubles than we do about the protagonist. This is the first issue of Resurrection Man, and we don't know anything about him. At least we know one is the smart one, and one is the one that uses sex as a weapon as far as the body doubles are concerned. So there's more characterization there because there's none on the Resurrection Man. It's okay, like I said, at best. A bargain bin, like if you find it on the if you find it in the auction and you have $1 and I'm selling basically 10 of them for the price of 2 comic books on the shelf, obviously check it out. The Resurrection Man is a good book. This first issue, however, kind of just flatlined. It's not bad, it's not good, it's there. It definitely needs a little bit of improvement though. That being said, if you want to check out a video about a 90s big bosomed kind of person, female with a fuck a donkey. That being said, if you want to check out a 1990s comic book with a girl with big boobs and guns, check out our video on Painkiller Jane. Check out the first appearance of Painkiller Jane. I think you're going to enjoy it. But if you really want to check out a comic book about a woman with big boobs and guns, go check out our comic book origins on Painkiller Jane. It should be popping up at the end of this video. Otherwise, go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on, helps keep making videos for you. This is the way I'm trying to make a living and trying to get that channel back. So please, by all means, if you don't do the Ko-Fi thing, just share and comment, even if it's just to say hello. It would be awesome, and it helps out the algorithm. Otherwise, like, thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.